This has been a runaway season and one of pure talent. The title is already secured in the back pocket of Juanmi Costa, the Portuguese powerhouse of the Lotus 79 Classics Teams Championships. But there are still places up for grabs, points to be won, and an F2 championship to be decided on the greatest weekend of motorsport. This is a throwback to the past, to the historic layout of Silverstone, and it's round 11 here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Welcome back to the late 90s, where the Spice Girls were queen and a Christian Horner was just a struggling Formula 3000 driver. I'm Jake Sperry, and alongside me is former IMSA driver Joey Atterbury. Behind the scenes is our director Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Silverstone's Middle England's playground, and many will know it through the years, but with all the throwbacks, let's take a look at our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Silverstone. Most famously known for being the first circuit to host a round of Formula One, this place has since become synonymous with British motorsports. Hosting everything from sports cars to touring cars to open wheels and even motorcycles, it's a track that fits a wide variety of vehicles. With 5 different layouts to choose from, you've got a little something for any level of racing. The longest of those layouts boasts 17 turns over more than 3 miles or 5 kilometers, so it can take a bit to get around it, even in higher-powered machinery. Its main characteristics are the long straights, swift corners, and general lack of elevation change. Its most famous set of turns is definitely the Maggots-Beckett sequence, in which anything with high downforce finds itself challenged with the rapid changes of direction. While there is a fair bit of paved runoff in quick corners like Copse and Stowe, the time lost from going off can be costly. There's a few turns with opportunities for overtaking, including Vale, Abbey, and Priory. But in cars with less horsepower, expect the slipstream to be where many attempt to get by. The Hangar Straight is perhaps the most notorious for draft battles to erupt. All in all, this versatile racetrack located just northwest of London provides both history in its roots and action on the tarmac. The huge number of British fans that typically attend events are seldom left wanting.
So this is Silverstone in probably the quickest iteration of the full layout that you can possibly get here, Joey. It's a track where you are very reliant on the 2 drafting zones, which will be the run out of the Chapel corner and down the Hangar Straight to Stowe, and then coming out of Club, which is a lot quicker of a corner than it traditionally is, all the way through Bridge and Priory.
Yeah, it is the fast version, and it's going to be awesome to watch these cars. 16 turns, just over 3 miles in length, and really just the change of direction from turn 1, from Copse through Maggots-Beckett's Chapel, down the Hangar Straight. It's going to be something else to watch. I mean, they make tremendous amount of downforce, plus everything underneath that's going on with these cars. They are going to be glued to the road through there. And then, like you mentioned, it'll be the drafting battles down those straightaways into pretty small passing areas today, Jake. We're going to have to watch and see what kind of action we do get on this racetrack.
Yeah, it's going to be quite decisive when you find a move and a little bit more difficult for others out there. One thing is for certain, though, Juanmi Costa has won the title. 156 points looks very exciting, very much like a huge gap. But then you consider that it's 80 points for a win, and Juanmi Costa has 70 points in the back pocket should he have a bad result today. That confirms the title between him and Timothy Reed. Dylan Freckleton finds himself 3rd in the championship, but keep an eye out on 4th and 5th, because Nathan Finnegan could get in. So too, Jack David Spickett, who was last season's F2 champion. What a season he's having. Jason Clapper finds himself in 6th, with Juho Reiner in 7th, Gernot Frietscher in 8th, Andreas Schuster in 9th, and Memo Moreno rounding out the top 10 overall in F1. F2 is a much different story, though, Joey.
Yes, F2 is pretty much Tim Britton leading the way right now. Keith Herner 39 points back, but things do get closer. Those top 3 pretty far spread out, but look at this. Patrick Samaran, Shady Ahmad, they're only 7 points difference, and then really, really tight for Samuel Raymond and also Steve Sarles back here battling it out for 6th place position. And then further on down, Thomas Silvernagel, Antonio Alvarez also locked into a battle. But Jake, with only 2 races remaining, including today, it's going to be about finishing those races.
Yeah, you can't afford to use these as a drop round. Now, it's 24 laps here today around this Silverstone circuit. It's complete open setup in this 11th round. So that means that the drivers are all trying to work out what's the best thing to do with this car. How do you set this up? There are no spare cars in this series. If you break it, you bought it, as one of our famous GSRC commentators used to say, Bill Soupzan. So if you break it, you bought it. The car will be back in the pits. A drive-through penalty when the iRacing official system hits 17 instant points on its no-fault system, and then disqualification if you go over that 17 and hit 25 instant points out there over the course of the laps. Now, these drivers are in qualifying as it stands. They have 8 minutes to set a representative flying lap, and they have only 2 laps allotted to them to get through. Driver's eye view then of Juan Mi Costa. You can see the wheel work. He has to do big correction of oversteer as he tries to go through club. He can use all of that area of the circuit, and now he flicks through the Abbey. No need for a chicane. Now heading towards Bridge and the heavy braking zone over at Priory Corner.
And Juan Mi Costa is currently on your provisional pole with his first timed lap, and this is his second timed lap, like you were saying, and this is the slowest section of the racetrack, and compared to all of the other corners, you really feel like you have to tiptoe through here.
You do. It's a balancing act on the throttle and through Woodcut Corner then to finish off the lap. Juan Mi Costa, 25.2. Can't improve on that second lap, 25.3. What about the driver who has 3 times as many wins as anybody else in this series, Gernot Fritsch? He is someone who is electric when he gets into form. It's been a while since we've seen him at the top, and it's been a while since we've seen him with a championship victory to his name. You have to go a long way back for his last title, and it was 2021 Season 3, the last time he's had that. So he has been out of the championship picture for nearly 2 years, Joey.
Well, and Gernot has admittedly said that he hasn't put as much time and effort into practice and into these championship runs. He is more enjoying racing out there on the racetrack. So, Jake, to that point, I understand why maybe he's not all the way at the pointy end of the field, but you look at his performances out there, he is always in the top 5, most of the time in the top 3, and he still carries that #1 board on his car.
At one point in time, he was someone who was in the 9,000 iRacing Club. Nathan Finnegan with a big kick coming out of Brooklands Corner. Is going to have to be careful now on the power through this section at Luffield, through Woodcut, and looking towards the line. He is currently 1.3 off the pole and does not improve on that lap time as they go through. Fritsch on his second lap needs this one to be good as he heads down into Stowe Corner here. This fast right-hander, 180 Ks, back up on the power, looking for this quick flick through the Vale because you got the left, 230 Ks, down on the brakes. It's a small break, about 50 kilometers an hour you lose, but you're using all the road on the exit. Get back across to the right before the grass takes your lap away, and now through this next cut through to try and make this lap through into what is a beautiful arena section run no more.
Yeah, and look at this lap time from Gernot. He's tracking 0.3 to the better, and he actually put down an amazing first lap. He's currently 3rd right now. Jake, this could turn into provisional pole maybe.
It might do. It depends on how he goes against Juan Mi Costa. It's a good run out to the final corner. Has he got enough? 25.248. The time to beat. It's going to cross the line. 25.486. It fell away in the final sector. And he drops, gains time but doesn't gain positions. Rafael Rodriguez is the only other car out there who could set the lap time. But with how early he is out there on the circuit, it's going to be touch and go whether he makes it over the line. It is worth saying here that there have been about 7 drivers who haven't set a lap time here, and it is also worth noting, Joey, 1 split.
1 split, you're right, and a few drivers that I'm familiar with seeing that haven't put down a lap time. I know that Kimmo Vielikainen has said that he is not going to be doing much qualifying this season, so not surprised to see Kimmo at the back there. Jack David Spickett, JDS, that's a name that I'm not used to seeing at the back. He usually puts down a pretty good qualifying effort.
Yeah, he normally does, and the fact that he normally does, I think, is very, very key to what he's trying to do today. Rafael Rodriguez, 18 seconds. He is up against the clock. It is a hard count to these 8 minutes as he runs into Brooklands, misses the apex, though, and that might cost him because he's going to struggle to get on the power. Over through the right, and I think he's going to run out. 5, 4, 3, and that will do it. He will not reach the line. So let's take a look at our starting grid. Will be Juanmi Costa, champion-elect, on pole position. We'll have Mikko Leno alongside him for company on the front row, a 25.407 from him. Row 2 houses Gernot Fritzsche and Timothy Reed, with Luca Bracali starting 5th and Mike Rasmus in 6th position. Nathan Finnegan and John Stevens will house row 4. Row 5 consisting of Seamus Power in 9th and Janne Lehmann rounding out the top 10.
Then we have Pablo Suarez here in 11th, Victor Chamorro in 12th. Then on row 7, Barry West and Keith Herner. Tim Britton in the 15th place with Steve Sarles next to him in 16th. Sergio Martin in 17th and Francisco Javier Lopez in 18th. And then on row 10, we have Joe Walker and Bronislav Robanek.
Yeah, they find themselves there. Last drivers to set times were AJ Henderson and Andrew Eng. Everyone else is split by iRacing. So Jack David Spickett, Kimmo Villiakainen, Martin Reisman, Adnan Toramanovic, Chester Barkin, Rafael Rodriguez, and Andreas Bodenauer will all start this race from the rear positions. Now, they will run up towards Copse. It's a really cold track here today. Just 22 degrees centigrade, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So not really much in terms of temperature. In sim time, knocking on the door of 7:30 in the evening. So that's going to be a very, very cold track that will stay cold for the entirety of the 24 laps. But you look at those Goodyear tires that they've got on them, they are going to have to motor on them to get them up to temperature. And they've got one of the fastest flowing, probably the most underrated section of track, the most used section of track that is remembered in the world, the Maggots Beckett's Chapel section, which has been for the longest time the standard bearer when it comes to chicanes in motorsport. But for Juanmi Costa on the front, he will know the likes of Mikko Leno, Gernot Fritzsche, Timothy Reed. They're all there. They are all capable of challenging over the course of a race like this. A good start is paramount. Engine notes then will rise. 24 laps here at Silverstone gets itself underway. Slow start then from the third row of the grid. Big wiggle though on the front from Mikko Leno. That opens up Gernot Fritzsche, who had a bad start, to get to the inside through Cops Corner then. They try and drive through. Already it's the likes of Luca Bracali making good progress then off of the start. Got side by side for fourth position as Bracali now really tries to get himself into play with Timothy Reed. He backs out, but Costa has got himself away in the early stages.
And a really clean start for the entire field right here as we stream down through the hangar straight for the first time. But one outlier, Juanmi Costa, already escaping from the rest of the field. Then it's Mikko Leno, Gernot Fritzsche, Timothy Reed.
Yeah, all there, all charging then in towards this section. Everybody made it through clean, the opening sector. Brilliant driving then as they go through towards the Vale for the first time. You can see them swarm as they try and go through. This is going to be draft central here today, and it is vital to get outside of a second. And some drivers are going to try and push the boat out, really try and use that road as much as possible. And you can see it here, how everyone on this opening lap needs to be within the range of the car in front of them.
Well, and I tell you, a couple drivers taking advantage of the draft and cars close to another. Jack David Spickett as well as Kimmo Villiakainen, they're both up about a handful of positions from qualifying at the back.
Yeah, Kimmo Villiakainen, we know, was going to qualify at the back all season long. See how far he can go forward because he couldn't commit to every race so far this season. Jack David Spickett will do something very similar as they now look to go through. One lap then, score complete in the books, and already it's 1.4 seconds. There is Villiakainen on screen. We take a look from the roll bar as he already flies by Steve Sarles for position, gains another one out there and is already up into 16th place. We'll be looking for 15th soon. He has got Victor Chamorro just in front. That's his next challenge.
And I mean, to put it in perspective, one lap, 8 positions for Kimmo out there. Impressive stuff.
It's impressive when you consider no retirements. A big bit of side-by-side behind, though, as well, as they start really ganging up. Joe Walker, Steve Sarles, Jack David Spickett, all there. Bit of side-by-side to the outside. Searching goes Joe Walker, and he will walk his way right around as if his name was Johnny.
That was a very good move. That takes some cojones down there to go around the outside, trusting the car and that aero grip.
Yeah, and you really need to have that focus in this machine, especially when you consider that a long way through these places, a long way through these laps, you're going to be finding that dirty air be a huge push against you. This is what Kimmo Viliakainen sees and what you see out there on iRacing as he now looks to chase down the Renault Elf style car in front of Keith Turner, who has been so good in the F2 Championship this season and is in a really good position to pick up points here with his place 14th. Now, what's worth keeping in mind is Juan Costa sets the fastest lap. F2 points run off the same as F1 points. So if you finish where you are, you get the same amount of points no matter where you are. So you have to battle against the F1 style drivers. The Raccoon Racing machine, though, easily goes through. Keith Turner protecting his race by letting through the faster Viliakainen.
Yeah, Kimmo says, thank you very much. I will take the open door. I think Keith Turner just saw him coming and said, you know what? This is not my battle. I want no part of this as we jump up to Mike Rasmus, who's currently chasing down Nathan Finnegan right here. Nathan's in the 6th position, so Mike Rasmus and him making a duel of this.
I do love the polka dot helmet that he's got on, and he's got a great chance here coming through the corner there at Vale as we take a look at his helmets. Absolutely beautiful. Now he's going to really make that charge through this section of track. He might get an angle to the inside here at Bridge. Light lift as he goes through into this section, but at Priory, when you hit the brakes, down to just 155 kilometers an hour through that section. That's rapid for there. He's going to have to be very alert to where he goes, and knowing that he's got John Stevens and Seamus Power behind, being in the middle of a train is sometimes the most dangerous place to be out there because you have to both attack and defend at the same time. You find yourself in Schrodinger's overtake.
You gotta be careful, and I guess the best advice you can give is just hit your marks out there. You're up there for a reason. You're in that position, and you have the speed, and you jump back here. Look at this. Kimmo Viliakainen, this is a draft train all the way back from Nathan Finnegan, Mike Rasmus. There's only about maybe a half a second separating each of the cars all the way back here.
As we say that, Seamus Power is through now on John Stevens, but Viliakainen still looking to try and chase through. Barry West, the fan favourite of everyone, is going to be the next chase. And then the target, big target there for Tim Britton, just in front. Line slightly defended here by Barry West, heading through on the defence in towards Stowe Corner. The fast right-hander, you have to be so alert through every single stage of the lap to get yourself through and to gain every place you possibly can out there on circuit. But back through the right, Viliakainen holding his station well through the corner, and now look at the ATS in front. He's going to want to try and get this one sorted here. On the outside, he will now manage the inside here at Bridge, and you know what? Barry West lets him have it as well. It's a case of yellow helmet syndrome going about.
Well, I think that Barry West, you know, he defended just a little bit on the first part of the lap, but Kimmo, with the speed that he's got inside the car, did an excellent job with a few over-unders, and once Barry was in the inferior position, he realized, I got no point in trying to fight this, let him on by.
Gernot Fritsch, the legend of Lotus 79, up against Mikko Leino in the race for second position here on lap 5 here of 24 through the Chapel corner and trying to get drive out of the exit here, and now trying to make everything they possibly can. You can see the gap, second, third and fourth, a good equidistant half a second at this point. Leino the Finn leading the Austrian Fritsch, and then you got Timothy Reed, car number 4, Club Atlantic in the United States, watching these two and trying to hold on to the coattails.
Well, and something to note too, Jake, is Gernot, from what I've watched in his racing, he typically gets faster and faster as the race goes on. You see Kimmo make up another spot going by Tim Britton. He continues that charge, but Gernot in third place right now, applying the pressure to Mikko Leino. I think he's in a great position today.
So too, right, Rasmus, he's got Nathan Finnegan sorted out, looking at Priory corner, trying to get it through. Barnaby, it says on the side, but he's going to try and get himself through on that inside. It will turn to the outside if Finnegan can keep his foot in it, and he can. Round the long way, he's trying to get this sorted. It'll be better drive out there for right Mike Rasmus. Seamus Power with the best seat in the house with the Toyota helmet on, with the Denso on the side. Now here comes the chance for Mike Rasmus. He'll have to be the outside of Cops corner. He has to lift Nathan Finnegan with power and poise, but he runs a little bit deep, and that might open up the chance then for both Power and Rasmus to go through. And with Rasmus holding back, Seamus Power takes advantage and says thank you very much.
Great driving from Seamus Power to capitalize on the late missed apex from Mike Rasmus, and that vaults him up into the 7th place position. Now he's going to be on the back of Nathan Finnegan, but I tell you what, these 3 cars, them battling, is slowly drawing in John Stevens right behind him as well.
We have had our first retiree from the race. It's AJ Henderson, who is out then of this one. He having a big spin going on forward. We'll catch this with the GSRC replay as it's on for second as he goes. There is the issues that he's got going forward. He just grabs the grass on the straight, very lackadaisical, goes straight across, doesn't tag anyone, I don't think, but that will pretty much put an end to that. There has been a change, though, for second position. Gernot Freacher is now through over Mikko Leno, and he had to work very hard for it, Joey.
But he did an excellent job with the overtake, just capitalizing on some poor lines right in front of him, and most importantly, what you called earlier, Jake, the slipstream. Look at the toe effect. Gernot goes to the outside. He knows he's got a fast right-hand kink that the arrow is going to keep him there, and then simply outbrakes Mikko Leno here.
Yeah, and the commitment to go around the outside of bridge into Priory corner. You need to have confidence in the driver you're racing against, and he did. Now watch Leno, because he's in trouble. Timothy Reed with a great run out of Chapel here onto the hanger straight. Which way are you going to go? Is it left or right? It's right to the inside as he now looks to try and make this pass. Very Mansell and PKS through on the inside to make the pass up into P3.
Now let's see if Leno can do anything else about it, because he's looking like he's trying to do something, but jump back. This is Jack David Spickett trying to get to the inside of Pablo Suarez.
That a great move, but not done. Pablo L. Suarez has not got a chance, though, because he lets through one Mr. That being John Stevens. Oh, sorry, Jack David Spickett getting that place. Pepsi Man is on a charge.
Pepsi Man. I like that. That's a good nickname for him here.
It is, and he is doing well. Started 23rd, now finds himself up knocking on the door of what is 11th place. He's in 12th. Just in front of him is that battle for 11th as Juanmi Costa sets the fastest lap of the race, a 26.193. Janne Lehmann in a bit of a battle right now as they now go on the front stretch, but it's getting a little bit more aggressive now for right Rasmus. He goes back to the inside. He takes it at Cops from Seamus Power.
Oh, and then here, Seamus Power, he's going to try to stick in the arrow toe, but it's so difficult through the S's here. You get a lot of that dirty air from the car in front of you, but Seamus Power doing a good job. And you got to remember, Seamus capitalized on that missed apex from Mike Rasmus, so it seems like Mike has picked up the pieces and now headed back the right direction, chasing down Finnegan one more time.
He is going to have to do that chase, but the more they battle, the more they drop time, and Nathan Finnegan here is starting to get away from them. A little mistake from him, though, just getting a little bit too deep through the sections of corner, and he's now really started to fight against the car here on lap 8 of 24, the 1/3 distance of the race. And these drivers are dealing with an ever-changing car here, Joey, mainly because the fact that every lap they go through, they are burning their fuel, and that equates with the fuel that they drop to being about 1/10 of a second quicker every single lap. That, of course, has a little bit of offset with the tires.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to mention, is that sure, the car is getting quicker. That's one part of the fuel burn, but we also have to remember the tire wear. It's not like these tires stay new the entire time. Each and every time these cars go through a corner, they get a little bit worse, and then each the time the drivers abuse it, be aggressive with it, it's taking life off of the tire. When you need it the most, it's not going to be there at the end.
Sergio Gonzalez then in the red machine, making the pass on Rafael Rodriguez, the number 28. That a pass for 22nd position out there as Sergio now looks to try and chase his way back in. They do have Martin Reisman on the back, but here is Nathan Finnegan and Mike Rasmus once again. The race on for 6th and 7th positions, and this is going to be about can Rasmus pull himself close enough, not here into Stowe corner, but he's got to have to be careful. Has to take a double take slightly there going through at Stowe because he was a little bit too early, too aggressive there, Joey, on the entrance.
Well, and I'm looking at the lap time here, Jake. I wonder if Nathan had a problem last lap, a 128.3. Compare that to Mike Rasmus, a 127.8. So that gap that Mike Rasmus had is evaporated in just a lap.
Yeah, it was Stowe and Vale where it really showed, and that's a big mistake going through at Priory Corner. There's a chance at Brooklands, but not going to find it. Wide again, though, goes Finnegan. Too much on the brakes, sliding it through that section of track. He is really sensing now that he is not at 100%. Rasmus has to counter-attack.
Polkadot Power is on full charge right now, heading down the front straight. This is the fastest section of the racetrack. Turn 1 comes. Oh, big wiggle from Finnegan.
How has he saved that? Tyres in the grass, keeps himself through. Now watch through the middle. Almost a chance there for Seamus Power to get them both. He'll be side by side into Beckett's corner. Thank you very much. He gets it done. Seamus Power then finds himself up a position, but that is all about Nathan Finnegan being put under the cosh. Full opposite lock, trying to save it on the straight.
Watch this. He's going to dip an outside tire, and fast hands is what saves that car.
Oh, it does. Not once, but twice. And that was the key there, was able to save the car, keep it pointing in the right direction. Nathan Finnegan still has a race in his hands. They head through the Vale now. John Stevens will sit on the back and look for a way to get through, but Nathan Finnegan has to regroup. He's gone from 6th to 8th in the space of the opening sector of this lap.
Well, and jumping back here with Keith Herner, chasing down Bronislav Rovanek, but something I'm noticing on timing and scoring that I have missed, Jake. Jack David Spickett has gone around Kimmo Villakainen.
He has, so Villakainen has lost a position out there. The gap was half a second between them out there on circuit, and that's because Villakainen had a mistake at Chapel Corner. That's why he's dropped back, why he's lost the place, because he's had a slight spin, and he was able to save it, not lose any time off the road to go through. We do have a driver 2 laps down though. That's Andres Bodenau, but let's take a GSRC replay. This is how much Villakainen had to save it.
Woo. You saw him do a little bit of dance on the pedals to lock it down and save his race. And, well, I tell you what, that's a whole lot better than spinning it all the way around.
Oh, I certainly agree. You definitely don't want to do that. Now here comes Mr. Spickett. Pepsi Man on a charge again, this time for 9th position. He's got a look at John Stevens straight down the inside at Stowe Corner. Gets it done here on lap 11 and moves himself up through one more place. And he will look at the train in front and go, I want every single one of them. I want the 10, I want the 8, I want the 7. Might be a chance for a top 5 depending on how Luca Bracali drives.
Well, and we're not even talking about potential attrition with some of these cars racing. And Jake, he's got plenty of time to do it. We're only halfway through.
We are only halfway through. Another car in the pits. Victor Chamorro, his day in trouble. Barry West looking to try and find some overtakes out there as well. He's got Pablo Suarez in the sights. And Pablo going to have a big slide through the corner. Gathers it up in the M-Power BMW livery that he's got going forward. We'll have to attack off the exit. Pablo Suarez, someone who has been in open wheel, in iRacing for nearly a decade.
Barry West has him in his sights right now, though. Both of these competitors have actually fallen a little bit from their grid positions, and so I think they're just trying to hang on. Some drivers coping with this racetrack better than others.
They are, and this is a very particular style of driving that you need to succeed here at Silverstone's historic layout. Struggles, though, in the dirty air for Barry West. He'll need to gather it back up here as he now looks at the power. How do you charge back forward? He'll move to the right-hand side, leaves it late, but gain more than enough to get alongside, and Pablo Suarez will let him have it through the corner. Very much nicely gathered up by Barry West, fighting it through the corner. And this is one of those old school feels when you got with this sort of car. You are balancing everything out there, and you're just hoping that the car continues to point in a straight line.
Well, and when you are balancing it, hoping that you're keeping it on the racetrack, it's good to see the sportsmanship that this community really has. Everybody leaving room to race out there. You saw Barry West go by Pablo, and Pablo didn't defend super hard at all. He saw that Barry had a run. They left side-by-side room, and no harm, no foul, just a good racing moment out there.
Yeah, very good racing. Tim Britton will want to try and get in on this as well. Let's not forget that Tim Britton is the current F2 championship leader. He is trying to gain as much as he can, but he finds himself in 15th position and actually doing rather well for himself today. With every place he's been trying to fight for, everything he's been trying to get his hands on. Now that's a spinner just in front of them, and that will be Janne Lehmann, who's going to drop all his places there. So Janne there making a rare mistake, getting out on the AstroTurf at Copse Corner.
One of the fastest corners on the racetrack here going into turn one. You're going to see, does it clip on the outside here? Looks like he runs too wide on exit, gets some dirty tires, and thankfully he doesn't spin it around. But even look at that, just so much track position lost.
Yeah, 3 places gone in the blink of an eye for Janne Lehmann, and he finds himself now down from 12th into 15th position. His pace is back on for Jack David Spickett. He's got his eyes set. Nathan Finnegan's going to be looking around going, oh, not him. Definitely not him, charging back through the field. Jaime Costa, another fastest lap, 25.9 this time on that run through. And look again at how Finnegan is struggling to get that car turned into the corners. And it's only really when you're seeing it, when he's got pressure behind. I think he's crumbling so much at this point, knowing he's got quick drivers around him, knowing he's got a race.
Well, I'm curious to see how he handles this section of the racetrack, because where we saw Finnegan have that huge mistake, that's in the slow area. And trust me, the race cars are not happy when they are slow speed. They are not making that aerodynamic grip that they are through sections like this on the racetrack.
Yeah, and Jack David Spickett has it on a line. There was a small wiggle from Nathan Finnegan through that section, and it opens up the door once again. Desperate to stay in the tow of Seamus Power in front. Finnegan looks across, thinks, what can I do? And I think with the level of pace he's got, the way he's trimmed out his Lotus 79, I think he's got a lot lower downforce compared to Jack David Spickett, who can absolutely send it through some of these corners. There'll be another look here coming out then off the Vale. This will be where Jack David Spickett's got to try and find this move. If not here, then through Bridge. Now he goes and tries to make this move. It's covered off by Finnegan. He's going to have to go the long way around to make this happen. Tries to keep himself in the angle. He can be brave on the brakes here. Try and send one up the inside. Jack David Spickett still has the inside line as they come to Brooklands corner. What a move.
Now he's got him clear. Move JDS up into 8th place position around Nathan Finnegan. And one more time, just this community, the room given, great racing we're seeing.
Great racing, and there is your race leader, Jaime Costa, putting Rafael Rodriguez 1 lap down in this field. We have hit lap traffic, and Jaime Costa driving away. 6.7 seconds, 6.8 his margin here at the front over Gernot Fritzsche, as Tim Britton now finds himself still trying to find a way past Pablo Suarez. It's as close can be. We'll look to the inside here, has to back out of it though into Maggot's corner, because that could have very easily have been both he and Suarez out the race.
Not usually a passing opportunity there, but you see how much pressure Tim is applying to Pablo, and here comes a possible passing opportunity. Tim's going to take to the right side of the racetrack. It's all about being later on the brakes now. Looks like Pablo's going to leave plenty of room. Tim Britton up into 13th. Does Pablo have anything to come back at him?
Well, the next section of track is the key. If you are going to fight back, you're going to have to do it here through the Vale, and now trying to get that run onto what is effectively the Lewis Hamilton straight, now heading towards this left-hand turn here at the Abbey. Can you find anything for it? Answer's no. Pablo Suarez must stay in position overall, and it looks like troubles for power out on circuit, and someone turned the power off. An unforced error through Priory.
Yeah, it was just all by himself. We're going to catch this replay here. Take a look as we go through the left-hander. Maybe just a little bit too much speed. The car wiggles on him right there, has a big moment, and then off into the grass, actually spins it around from there.
And the big key there for that spin, Joe, is not the fact that he's out there in the grass, it's the fact that he gets a massive influx of grip by jumping back onto asphalt.
Yeah, that, and I mean, overheating the tires, the big wiggle moment, none of it's good, Jake.
No, none of it is. We know that, and it's certainly not helping. Viliakainen in the mix then again. This time he wants 8th position. He wants Nathan Finnegan. While that's happening, we've got a great race on for 3rd as well. Viliakainen as close can be, thinking about the outside line, going through the Vale, but can he get it wound up tighter than Nathan Finnegan? Answer to that is no, but he has been really good on these straights, finding opportunities, getting places made, and getting moves done. Viliakainen needs some power then through this section as Costa sets another fastest lap. Door is shut by Finnegan. He'll have to wait a little bit longer out there to make it happen. I think this is a really interesting race.
That's a great observation, Jake, because JDS, who had just gotten by Finnegan, you're right, he was able to be very aggressive on the brakes, more hang in the slipstream. However, Viliakainen, his car is set up differently. He's got a good top-end speed. He's not being as lungy on the brakes. Really where his speed is coming from is that top-end, top speed.
I want to get a replay of Mikko Leno into turn 1 of Copse Corner. He found himself with a really interesting turn-in moment, and this is a learning point for every sim racing driver out there when you're trying to deal with braking markers and where to find it. There was lap traffic on the outside in Rafael Rodriguez. Going to watch him here going through the right of the final corner at Woodcote. He goes off the road, he stays off the road, so everybody makes a move by, but when Leno gets to turn in, he's overcorrected through that section because his marker is obscured there by Rafael Rodriguez.
Well, and not only that, but he turned in from the middle of the racetrack, which also isn't ideal. Jake, it all comes down to variables, right? You had more than one thing going on that you're not used to. Stack those variables on top of each other, and it becomes more difficult to manage.
It certainly does become more difficult, and speaking of more difficult, the race is on for the top 5. Mike Rasmus is chasing his teammate. We look, though, with these two now, and Rasmus is really starting to put Luca Bracali in a position, and he will know that the Monza Garage car is going to be in a little bit of trouble pretty soon. Rasmus 1.3, 1.4 through this opening corner. He is right on the cusp.
Well, and you look at his lap times that he is laying down, very impressive. Just that last time alone, he took out almost 2 seconds from the 9 car that he is chasing down. And trust me, here about 1.3 seconds back, he's starting to sniff that slipstream.
I wonder if there was a mistake anywhere by Bracali on that lap, or whether it was just the fact that Bracali was stuck through that section of track as Viliakainen gets the pick that he was waiting for inside of Finnegan into that section of track, Stowe Corner. He will thank Chester Bark in a long time.
And move him up one more place. I think it was kind of inevitable. We've seen Finnegan struggling with the car, and even then you saw a big wiggle out of it. First it was JDS, now it was Kimmo, and I think if I was Finnegan, just hang on, keep on swimming out there.
And Seamus Powell will get a comfortable move on John Stevens, who lets him have the place. The Canadian Tire sponsored car making a comfortable pass, and now up into that top 10 goes Seamus Powell. He will now be left to chase as Finnegan in front has spun the car. He'll have to wait. They'll all try and go through. Big power slide to get it back on through, but Seamus Powell is now through on Nathan Finnegan.
I think that it's what I was just mentioning. I think Finnegan's just struggling a little bit with the car, and he spins it around, loses another position on the racetrack. But I think the benefit here is we've got to move now into turn one. He's going to try to take it back from Seamus Power.
Oh, Seamus has to hit the brakes because going through that section of track, he had such great overspeed for the up and under. He just couldn't get under. Through Maggots now, in towards Beckett's, then the left, and away goes one Mr. Nathan Finnegan. Seamus Power, nothing to argue then as they hit the front stretch and go through. Let's take a replay.
Gonna take a look at this. Nathan Finnegan, he has a big moment of understeer right here coming into this slow corner, and then ultimately has snap oversteer after that. Jake, it's what we call pushy loose on the racetrack, and oftentimes when the tires are gone, the race car just doesn't do anything you want it to do.
And then stay with it, because this is commitment coming out then of Luffield. Most drivers just think, all right, let's settle down. He's not settling. He is trying to hit a momentum point, and it's Valentino Rossi, the legendary MotoGP rider, who said attack back at the first time you lose an opportunity. He does exactly that, and he plants the car perfectly with the slide job style overtake.
Well, and I kind of feel for Seamus Power today, Jake, because he's been running a very consistent race. It just seems like these unforced errors from others, they've dropped cars and battles into his lap.
They pretty much have. Seamus Power has been a busy, busy boy out there today. Mike Rasmus, though, with eyes on a top 5, with 5 laps to go, can he find a way past the Italian Bracali and move up through and gain that? They have the 4 seconds they need on Jack David Spickett, so they won't have to worry about number 5 behind unless they get really aggressive in their battling. Through they go at Stowe Corner. This is a case where the old Murray Walker adage has got to come out. Catching's one thing here from Mike Rasmus, but passing is another, it clearly seems at this point.
And you count down the laps. We're going to be coming to 4 laps to go here soon. But one thing's for sure, Rasmus definitely has more speed than Luca Bracali. And here we go. Here's a potential area for a move that we've seen on the racetrack. I don't think it's going to happen this lap from Mike, but I was going to mention, oh yeah, that was a huge wiggle. But I think Mike, definitely the faster of the 2 cars.
Yeah, Mike is definitely bottled up here, but you need about a second a lap to make the pass to get through. Now, Zeno Fricha with the fastest lap of the race, a 25.632, will put that on the board. So he'll be happy with the way that's going out there, and he's trying to get everything he possibly can. Does he have a look into Cops Corner? No, but he'll have to settle it up through the chicane. But that's where Luca Bracali can gain a couple tenths. Big kick out wide. Then from Rasmus, he's going to use all the road tax available to gain himself some time through the S as they go.
But this is leading onto that crucial hanger straight that we're coming up to. Mike Rasmus in a very good position here. He's going to be in that slipstream. Let's see the wing angle differences. Looks like Bracali's car got some top speed to it.
It does. Only 3 Ks on the straight difference, so that is trimmed going through that section of road. So Rasmus has got to really be underneath if he wants to try and get through. He's got to drive so aggressively here, in through the veil, and he does exactly that. Gets completely underneath, trying to get that momentum. Now he's got to try and open up this line. Has he got enough then, as he makes the run towards Bridge? Half covered off on the inside by Bracali. He's got that scouted as they go through, and as he dictates the line, he's got the confidence as well. Rasmus nowhere to go.
Oh, and you see him miss the apex again there. That's 2 laps in a row that Mike has had a little bit of troubles coming through this section of corners. Oh, what a huge save from Rasmus, but he gets it gathered back up. Can he climb back up, catch Luca Bracali one more time?
He was so deep on the brakes. The rear's going back. F2 championship leader Tim Britton also in a race. He's trying to get away around Barry West. This for 12th place, but Baz is having none of it at the moment as he drifts it slightly going through. We'll have 3 laps to go when he hits the line, and Barry West doing everything he can to keep Tim Britton, number 11, pretty much at bay.
Well, unfortunately, Barry West is going to kind of be in that sitting duck area going down the straightaways. Doesn't really have a car to pull him, and Tim Britton just kind of lining up the number 13 car. Both of these cars actually up a couple positions from where they have started this race, and looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, they are looking very good, and the way that they've driven actually has been rather impressive, and they will know that in terms of what they want to do, it's about just keeping themselves on track for that finish to gain those all crucial points that are there and available. Keith Herner, by comparison, in 17th position. That will mean that Tim Britton will still gain in the championship as it looks heading to the finale at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. That crucial. No Kurt Clapper here today. Patrick Samaran nowhere to be seen. And everyone that he is racing against, he has the advantage on, and the charge is there for Tim Britton, who knows he has got to continue on finding those moves as they run out of time around this track. Back into Priory, no chance for the pass.
No, he's actually not quite as close as he was before, but trust me, that doesn't mean that Barry West is going to breathe easy up there. One small mistake, we've seen it just in some of these high-speed corners, can result in multiple seconds lost.
Multiple seconds can be lost, and that is very, very crucial. 2 to go. There's Barney over on the left-hand side on the gantry. He will wait with the white flag, which will indicate 1 lap to go very soon. Still, Luca Bracali holding off Mike Rasmus, who's done well to work himself back onto the rear of number 9 from Italy. Again, he will prove that this corner here is his, but he's got to be very, very patient on this straight, heading through the left of Abbey over towards Bridge. If he wants to make this move, he is going to have to find a great run through there. He won't get it through there just yet. Costa sets the fastest lap. He goes on to the final lap of the race, but this race definitely not over and done with for the top 5.
On Rasmus here, now he's being aggressive through this last sector of corners. He's trying to set up a little bit of an over-under. Can he capitalize? Bracali's car's been so good on a straight line.
Oh, it really has. And I think it's been super duper telling in terms of what they do. Side by side, almost they go in towards turn 1 at Copse. Can't quite find the angle. All of your instant points, you use them now if you want to find that fast. Mike Rasmus is going to have to use every trick in the book if he wants to get past Luca Bracali. Bracali hits every line perfectly. Through the S's section, out of Chapel, he's built himself about a 7-car length lead, and that'll be more than enough to defend. But Juanmi Costa, who has been dominant with 7 race wins this season, he will put in the back pocket yet another and prove to everybody that he is the new superstar on the block. Nobody could get close to him today. He will win by 9 seconds at least, and heading himself out there of Luffield corner, Juanmi Costa putting exclamation points on his title and will win here at Silverstone at an absolute breeze.
What a race from the number 2 machine. Here is Gernot Frischa. He's going to finish in the 2nd place position on the podium. Timothy Reed 3rd, and actually Mike Rasmus going side by side with Luca Bracali. He's going to claim the position.
Just about managing it at the 11th hour and the 58th minute, because minute 59 would have been the final corner. It's a big, big place for Mike Rasmus. He gets it. Britton through on Barry West. Barry is not going to give this one up, but he's going to have to there through Bridge corner. Has Britton got that car turned in? No, he hasn't. There's a chance here at Brooklands, but the door is slammed shut. Wide goes Britton. Here comes Barry West. Big kick of oversteer on the exit. Oh, and he tags him. Round goes Tim Britton.
Oh, and Tim's got, he makes contact with another car. Unfortunately, I believe that was Keith Herner that gets spun around. Barry West is going to finish in 12th. Tim Britton down a couple spots into 14th.
That was Rafael Rodriguez, the lap down car, who got hit there. I think Keith Herner was a little bit further behind, but that is big, and a couple places there in the championship battle for F2 that could decide a lot late on for Spa next week. We'll step aside for one moment. We'll get you with the post-race after this on the Global SimRacing Channel.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, at the front of the field, it was as plain as sailing could be. You couldn't ask for a better race, a cleaner race out there at the very, very top. The rest of the field, though, seemed to have themselves their own battles up and down. Juanmi Costa, 34 minutes, 32 seconds, wins by a margin of 10.1 over Gernot Fritzsche, and that a big, big statement in terms of his title, knowing how many points he's put on the board. Timothy Reed will round out the podium and cement his second place status in the championship, with Mikko Leino in fourth place, just giving a chase 1.4 seconds back. Mike Rasmus had to work until the penultimate corner to get his fifth place over Luca Bracali, and Jack David Spickett, having spun it qualifying at Brooklands and then running off the track at Copse Corner, finds himself into seventh position, having started the race in 23rd. He will have to share his honours, though, of most places gained, because he was shadowed every stage of the way by Kimmo Villiakainen, who did everything right in his run to 8th position. Nathan Finnegan would struggle a little bit out there. A spin would put him back to 9th, and his battle with Seamus Power. Seamus a little bit unlucky, but to be down one place, but finishes still in 10th.
Then we have 11th place with John Stevens. Barry West, who we saw at the very end of the race in that battle with Tim Britton. Barry comes home 12th. Pablo 13th. Tim Britton 14th. Yanni Lehman with the spin earlier, 15th place. Joe Walker in 16th. Keith Herner 17th. Steve Sarles in 18th. And then our first car one lap down, Martin Reisman and Andrew Eng in 20th.
Yeah, Reisman and Eng down. So too Bronislav Robanek, Sergio Gonzalez, Martin down a lap. Francisco Javier Lopez down. So too Adnan Tonoromanovic finding himself down along with Chester Barkin. 2 laps down for Rafael Rodriguez, and 3 retirees then from this race. Victor Chamorro finding himself a retiree. So too Andreas Berdenauer, and then AJ Henderson, the first retiree from the race after his spin on the front stretch, heading over towards Stowe Corner. That will bring ourselves into interviews. With us right now is Juanmi Costa. And Juanmi, that is a race that you couldn't have asked for any better. From start to finish, that was about as perfect as it could be. No one could touch you today.
Hello, thank you. Yes, it was surprisingly good for me because I didn't expect having too much pace compared to Miko and Gernot at the first half of the race, especially. So it was good for me. And later on, trying to manage the traffic.
Yeah, so you managed the traffic. You had to try and dance through in the second half of that race, and that really gave you an opportunity to go through. Let's talk about your season as a whole, Juanmi, because in terms of how you've been looking to conduct this race, how you've been trying to go through, and how you've gone about this season, what's made this season different for you compared to everybody else out there in terms of what you've gone through? You've got yourself win after win after win. How have you fine-tuned your driving to get the most out of this Lotus 79?
I mean, the difference with the previous season, at least, is there is no Andy on track. So that makes me the second fastest, I think. I don't think I improved too much
You don't think
compared to the last one, because I was driving at the limit always and only couldn't manage to beat Andy once. So I think that's it.
Yeah, so you've always got a driver out there that, will push you, and you can only race against the field that you've got. But let's just talk about next week, the season finale that you've got over at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It will be a crown of honor. You do have the championship in your back pocket. How are you going to go about challenging yourself at Spa there, knowing that you've got the championship already wrapped up? Are you racing for another win in the win column?
No, I will be doing a long week 13. We'll be doing some other stuff, some other games. I will let the other guys to fight for the win.
Well, you now find yourself with a championship. You're going to take an early break off then with the championship wrapped up. Juanmi, floor is yours for anyone you'd like to thank.
Thank you to you for the broadcast all the season, the guys to the Lotus 79 community. Thank you.
No worries at all. Juanmi Costa there joining us, champion, as he brings it all together. Second place overall, though, would be the legendary Gernot Fritsch, stood by with Joey Atterbury.
Mr. Fritsch, congratulations on the second place here at Silverstone.
Hi, Joey. Thank you very much. Good race.
It was a good race for you. We noticed you getting by, I believe it was Mikko Leno a little bit earlier in the race. Talk us through that battle, because you followed him for a handful of laps and then were able to manage your way by him.
I think Mikko had really good pace, but he wasn't as consistent as maybe me and Tim. So, yeah, I tried to get some advantage out of that. Took me a couple of laps to get close enough, and finally managed to do the pass coming out of the slipstream. So I think afterwards I was just pushing to keep a small gap to the cars behind, and managed to keep that until the end.
And talk to me a little bit about car setup, because we saw some variations in wing angles and downforce levels, and that plays a lot with the top speed and also the braking distances and how aggressive you can be. Where did you find your setup with your car and your balance?
Well, I wasn't even sure if I had enough top speed in this one, so I started with an old setup from my own. So that was pretty good. I also like this track very much because it really makes the car shine. It's a track with long sweeping corners, so you really can play with the downforce coming from the under tray. So yeah, I tried to go no wing, of course, but not as low to lose fast corner grip there.
Yeah, it's all about that balance out there, isn't it? And looking forward, there's only one race remaining this season. It's Spa, another fast, flowy racetrack. Are you going to be racing next week?
No, unfortunately not. Or maybe good for me due to real life stuff happening. So I'll be missing the last week. Yeah, it's been a good season, so congrats again to Juanmi for a dominant season, and yeah, see you all guys next time around.
Well, yeah, with that, did you want to say hi to anybody? Because it sounds like it's going to be a couple weeks before we see you again.
Yeah, as usually, I'd like to thank all the guys running this series. It's the best place to be, in my opinion. It always has been for me. Also, thanks to you guys for doing great broadcasts, and thanks to everyone doing the admin stuff behind the scenes, which is quite some work. Also can be exhausting at times. So thanks, everyone.
Well, one of my favorite racers to watch out there, coming home in second place today, Gernot Fritsch.
We'll take one chance then to look a little bit further down the field to what was a great battle towards the end of the race. Barry West is along with us right now. Now, Barry, that final lap, I think, will go down in terms of that was some hard racing that went through. You, of course, and the F2 Championship leader, Tim Britton, getting into it with each other. Just talk us through the final lap from your perspective.
Yeah, that was great. We'd had a good fight all the way through. I was a bit cheeky. I used Jack when he overtook to creep by Tim, and then I thought I'd just try and keep my lines and see if. But he was clearly faster than me. But I just tried to keep it tidy, and he was shadowing me. And I think he said something over comms. Don't worry, I'm not going to go for it, because it was threat from behind, and. Yeah, and obviously he was going to try for it the last lap, and he got me easily. And then I thought, oh, no, I can't let that go. So, yeah, it was hard fighting. And I've not tried around the outside of Brooklands before, but yeah, well, Woodgate, isn't it? But yeah, it was just a little touch. And unfortunately, I think Tim could have kept it a bit tighter and I could have given Pops a little bit more room. So it was just a 50-50 really. But yeah, it was good fun. Best race all season. Yeah.
Best race all season for you, as I'm sure that for you, you've been looking at, okay, well, how do you go about your development? You come into today as the number 13 driver, and we've seen you in this series for years, right down at the bottom of the field, making that steady progress up through. For you now, you find yourself just a minute here today off of the race lead. How do you look about the way that you go about your practice, the way that you drive and go, how do I shave off those extra tenths of a second which add up over the course of a race like this?
Well, it's strange. I just love Silverstone and it's kind to me. I did no practice at all today. Went straight into the race at 3:30 and did all right in that. And then went straight into this one because I was too busy watching the Monaco Grand Prix. But yeah, it was, I don't know. I sometimes, if I practice and practice and practice, I just seem to get slower and slower and you just overdrive. So perhaps it's just as long as you know the track and there's little foibles, you don't need all the practice these days. I mean, Jim Clark never used to practice that much for a track, did he? He didn't change the setup much when he got to a track. So yeah, there must be something in it. But yeah, that was a fun race.
Well, the freedom of not practicing, keeping you loose in terms of the way you're driving. Before we let you go, Barry, anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, you guys are doing such a great job, and I hope we get you back next season because everybody needs to contribute, and we're a bit short at the moment. So come on, step up, everybody.
Well, you heard it there first. Barry West there joining us and getting a 12th place finish overall out of his Silverstone Historic Racing. But that will do it for us then here at the Global SimRacing Channel. Want to give a massive thanks to everyone who has got it done from my crew here today, of course, from Joey, from Ryan, and from Dougie. You can catch us on social media here in front of you. You can use ourselves, of course, with YouTube. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe. But you've got Facebook, Twitter. You've got ourselves on Twitch. You've got ourselves on our Discord and our Instagram as well. Make sure you jump in on that. I want to thank all the partners who have helped get this done as well. The music is absolutely sensational. And that, of course, is done by June Lalonde as well as the likes of all those that are there. This is where we are for the season finale. We are at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, June 4th, 12:30 Eastern, 4:30 GMT. That's 5:30 PM BST for those, of course, who are in the United Kingdom. That is going to be a beautiful race on the road between Liège and Bastogne. But what's up next for us? It is, of course, the Simify MX5 World Sim Series, round 5. Taking its place over here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's going to be big. You're going to want to jump in on that and get in through all the racing. All our other racing is going to be out there on screen, so make sure you check that out. But until next time, with the Lotus 79 Championship here, race clean, race hard, and we will see you at Spa.